Yeah, let's go to Australia's longest-serving Foreign Minister, Alexander Downer, joining us live from Adelaide. Good to talk to you again, Alexander. With these military moves going on in Gaza, there is renewed talk of a possible ceasefire, Hamas possibly agreeing to hand over more hostages and agree to a ceasefire. Has that been brought about, do you think, has the new approach from Hamas been brought about by the military action or the posturing of Anthony Albanese, the Europeans and the Canadians?
Yes, obviously Hamas welcomes the statement by Albanese and by some of the Europeans supporting the Palestinian cause. But, of course, this has been brought about by the threat of the Israelis taking control of Gaza City. So Hamas are now offering to give up, well, around half of the living hostages. So there are around 20 living hostages left, it's thought. Give up around 10 of them. But, you know, in exchange for a ceasefire. I think the feeling in Jerusalem will be very much we need to finish the job. Either they release all of the hostages and lay down their arms, in which case there would be a ceasefire overnight, or else the Israelis will just have to seize control of Gaza City.
It's not too much to ask. I've been saying it since October the 9th, our first program after the October the 7th atrocity. That is, hand back all the hostages. It should be the minimum demand of the international community, of course, Israel as well. Let me just go, though, to the quite open debate now, the quite open falling out between Benjamin Netanyahu and Anthony Albanese. And there's no doubt that the Israeli Prime Minister has really ramped it up by going on Twitter, making a letter public. And then last night, speaking with Sharry Marks, and she'll be showing that full interview here on Sky at 8 o'clock. But here's a bit more of what Benjamin Netanyahu's had to say about the relationship with Australia and why the war in Gaza matters to everyone.
What will it take to restore the friendship between Israel and Australia?
There's been a great underlying friendship there for over a century. I think it's been gone astray because I think leaders did not show the strength and conviction that they should have when we're fighting. Actually, we're fighting the war of Western civilization against these barbarians.
Alexander, give us your thoughts on this falling out and what the implications are.
I think it's truly tragic. I mean, just looking at it from the point of view of the Labor Party, Dr. Everett, as the foreign minister back in the late 1940s, was one of the key players in helping to bring the state of Israel into existence through the United Nations. Bob Hawke was, of course, always a great friend of Israel's, and he always used to say that first they will go for Israel and then they'll go for us. That was it wasn't a unique expression of Bob Hawke's, but it's an expression he used. And I think that's what Prime Minister Netanyahu is getting at, that these people are not just against the Jews. They don't want just to destroy Israel as a state. These are people like Al-Qaeda before them and ISIS and so on, who want to destroy Western civilization. So Israel is at the forefront of the battle to preserve Western civilization. And it is truly a tragedy. It's truly a tragedy that Australia is not a robust supporter of a great liberal democracy like Israel, but it's found itself being congratulated by an Islamic terrorist organisation for its position on this war. It is truly a tragedy. It's so sad to see, and it will take many years to rehabilitate Australia's traditional and important relationship with Israel.
Yeah, shocking turn of events. Let me get your analysis too, if we can squeeze it in, of what's unfolded when it comes to Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, Volodymyr Zelensky and the striving for peace in Ukraine. We had the summit in Alaska, not much came out of that, but then the follow-up in Washington looks very promising. Where do you think we're headed?
I think it will take time. But in the end, I've always thought this is what would happen. There would be some concessions in relation to land. I mean, the Ukrainians clearly don't have any military capacity to win back, for example, Crimea. It would just be militarily impossible for them. Only the Americans could do that, and the Americans aren't going to do it. No one's asking them to. And there will be a peacekeeping force in Ukraine. There will be a line of control. There will be long negotiations about transfer of territory and so on. But by the way, this is where I part company with so much of the media. President Trump is putting a huge amount of time and effort into trying to stop this bloody war, and he should be thanked for the efforts he's made. After all, his predecessor, President Biden, did nothing to end the war. And ultimately, I think President Trump supporting President Zelensky and the European leaders, yes, ultimately they will stop the war and there'll be some muddy compromise, but the fighting will eventually stop.
Great stuff, Alexander. Thanks for joining us.